back together. Pat Miletich here with Joshua Chauvin for MMA Mobsters, brought to you, of course, by Dimene.com, cellsaviors.org, and grapplersclash.com. So support Dimene, support Cell Saviors, and Grapplers Clash. Joshua Chauvin, been a little while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. It's good to see you. I'll give a 30-second recap on me and then maybe tell us what you've been up to. So I'm right on schedule. I will be walking by September 1st and running by middle of September, and I'm still on track for that. And come rain, shine, emergency cavities getting removed, God or the universe, whoever it is, has been good to me, and I'm healing, and I'm right on track to be 100% again. So I'm thankful for that. What have you been up to, buddy? You've been going to rodeos and doing all kinds of exciting things.
Well, went to Montana and yeah, a little bit of other travels. I've gone to Florida to see the kids. Yeah, I've been all over the country, so it's been busy, busy. But more importantly, I think ultimately, Joshua, is that I I think it's important for us to hit on, have they tapered you properly, slowly off of your pain pills,
It's a good
off the
question.
oxycontins?
They did. That's actually crazy that you mentioned that. You're spot on a lot of the time. They did just mention, one of my doctors just mentioned a couple days ago that they usually would start weaning me off oxy, but I was barely taking it as it was. I've only asked for maybe one a day, whereas I was asking for one every 3 hours before. So it sounds like I'm just naturally weaning myself off. I'm sure that the flour of the earth that I partake in daily probably helps with the pain. So maybe I don't need the oxy and all the other chemical bullshit they're trying to shove in my body. But I'm thankful, man. Obviously, a horrific thing happened, but it's been a lot of good luck since then. So yeah,
I'm glad you're healing up great. That's
I
that's
appreciate that, brother. Thank
wonderful.
you.
And on the flip side too, I mean, if you wanted to keep acting like you're taking them and just run the OxyContin racket in the retirement home,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully the DEA doesn't watch our
Let's see how
show.
you do. Let's see how you do on bets this week, and then we'll
Yeah.
decide. All right.
Yeah. Hopefully Hank from Breaking Bad isn't watching MMA Mobsters, but yeah, it's been good. It's been good. It really has. It really, as crazy as it sounds, it has been a wonderful summer. I have had a lot of time to think, and I'm excited to walk again, but I don't feel sorry for myself for this crazy summer either. So yeah, you want to talk about
Yeah, I'm glad you're
kind
healing
of
up.
disturbing
Do you
stuff?
want to talk
Yeah.
a little bit? You want to talk some news? I mean, we can leave the disturbing stuff for the end. So
Okay.
people. Anyway, you want to talk Conor McGregor a little bit? You wanted to kind of talk a little bit. What are your thoughts on all that? What's going on with him?
Sure. People still want to talk about Connor. It is kind of crazy that he went out there and don't want to disparage him, but fought for about 45 seconds. Calling it fighting is a bit generous. He flopped around for about 45 seconds and couldn't stand up. But we're all still talking about him. I guess it shows the power of the person that he was and unfortunately is no longer. Yeah, so Darren Till always has something to say, and that can rub people the wrong way. But he did go on Ariel Helwani and essentially said all these Muppets, he called them, that say, "Oh, Connor had bad body language. He didn't seem loose. He didn't seem like himself." He basically said, "You're all a bunch of idiots on your couches who have no idea what real fighting is like." He's like, "It's not. You don't have to be in peak 100% mental shape. You just show up and you fight." And he said. Connor hurt himself, and that's what happens. And everyone's trying to read into this like it's a big conspiracy theory. And he called him a bunch of idiots. So obviously, Darren Till's going to run his mouth no matter what. I wish he could fight, have as good as he could talk. He could be a world champion. But what's your take on that, Pat? Because you are not some idiot on your couch. You are the first ever UFC 155-pound champion. You are a UFC Hall of Famer. You are qualified to speak on these things. Did you see weird body language from Connor walking out? Do you think that he was hurt before the fight? Do you think this was all one big conspiracy theory and they took one-legged Connor and said, "Get in there because we can't cancel this fight"? You had some very interesting opinions on the Kamzat Nate Diaz circus that happened a few years ago. Was this another circus like that, or what's your honest opinion?
I mean, there supposed footage of him warming up with that exact same opening kick, all that sort of stuff, and um, if you've got a torn ACL, you're not going to run across the cage to do the kick anyway. So, I mean, I think he got hurt in the fight. To be honest with you, that's my take. So, and it's not even that big a deal to argue whether it happened before or after.
Right.
Just knowing, I know what a knee injury feels like. I've never torn an ACL, but I can tell you, just an MCL injury, even stretched, sprained, your knee is very wobbly. So an ACL being gone, you're not running across the cage. So that's not how it works. So that's that's ultimately what I would say. And Darren Till, um, I have no comment on his commentary. I mean, yeah, ever since COVID happened, dude, Darren Till turned into an absolute bitch. And that's his reaction to a police officer confronting him about not wearing a mask and all that shit. It just straight turned. Yeah, he turned into a 12-year-old girl. So he can keep his comments. Yeah, whatever. I'm not concerned. So then moving on to Anthony Smith, obviously not a great experience for him, his wife, and that. What are your thoughts
Yeah,
on
well,
that situation? It sounded like he really
you've,
he
it's
got wound
bad.
up. We'll just say that.
It's bad. It's a bad headline, and you're far more. You've earned the right to talk to your UFC brother. I haven't. I'll just say what happened. It's anytime that you have three terroristic felonies and you're in prison, that's not a good place to start. And unfortunately, in the age of media, they're going to print the worst possible headline about you possible, and that's just how things work. So, yeah, he's at a bar with his wife right where he lives, right there in Nebraska, in his hometown, and there's a fight at the bar, and that kind of between him and his wife, and kind of results in him picking up his wife, who's about a third of his size, and chucking her in the truck. And there was some video of that. And then they went home, and then things really escalated. And apparently, there's video footage of him attempting to run his wife, mother of his children, over with his truck in their front yard, and almost accomplishes that goal several times. Luckily, he didn't. Maybe that the um, impacted bad driving from the alcohol maybe paid off. But yeah, that was bad. It's a bad headline. It's a bad look, and he's now in prison. These things randomly just happen out of nowhere, Pat. There's usually many events that build up to something like this, and everyone saw it coming. Obviously, Anthony Smith is a warrior, and he's always seemed like a good guy. And I'm not just saying this. I genuinely hope that this gets healed and fixed. And he's a very lucky man that the love of his life is still alive, and that he even has the opportunity to try to heal that relationship. But he's got to face some criminal charges first. I mean, just for me, wish him the best, and I'm very interested to hear what you say, because you have a right to speak on this, and I really don't. So go ahead, buddy.
Well, I think ultimately it sounds like there was a disagreement. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted to go home, get his wife home at the same time. We, how many times have you heard about nightmare stories of women and booze, right? They can add up to making really bad decisions, especially when it's all combined. So, putting his wife over his shoulder, trying to get her home, whatever, uh, not wanting to have a nightmare out in public, probably, whatever his motivation was, inebriated or not, he probably just wanted to get the fuck out of there. Then getting home, and who knows, was she trying to like leave and take off again and go back out? And he was trying to stop her from doing that with backing up and going forward and cutting her off or whatever. You know, anything anything could have been going on. So, not a great look, but ultimately, um, I'm sure he'll deal with it, and hopefully does not have to go to prison for it. It doesn't sound like he was beating her up. He was just trying to get her home more than anything. So I don't think he had ill intention. So whatever was going on and driving him to act the way he was, obviously it was something that seemed pretty urgent to him. So I'm not going to jump to conclusions.
It's wise. That's
Again,
wise.
alcohol and women can end up being an absolute nightmare. So stay away from booze and hang around with well, sane women. How's that?
That's
You
well
know,
said. Well said.
as much as you can anyway.
Well said. I
So,
could have
all
used
right.
that advice. Could have used that advice 10 years ago. Yeah, that's well said. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I get it. No, but okay. So should we move on to this week's card?
Yeah, I just got one question for you, and I thought of this during the
Okay.
Connor fight, and then this will be a shorter episode. We have some fun names to get through. Name a time. So some people said, hey, Connor blew out his leg against Max 13 years ago and finished the fight and beat Max. And that was one of the things that helped make him legendary and put him on this crazy historic run. Different Connor 13 years later. Maybe it's age, maybe it is mine, but he blew out that leg and looked like he was immediately done. He was not going to try to fight through it like Connor did 13 years ago. Can you tell a story? Maybe it's you, maybe it's a guy that you coached who somehow magically fought through an injury. And you're like, how is he throwing that left hand? Every bone in that hand's broken. How is he walking on that foot? How is he winning this fight? Give us the story, brother, and we'll get into the fights.
Well, Jens Pulver, when he fought John Lewis for the UFC title, didn't train for that fight hardly at all. He had severe low back situation going on, SI joint, massive amounts of inflammation, could hardly walk. And so the game plan was John Lewis throws a lazy jab to start fights 2 or 3 times in a row. He throws the jab and then he drops that hand down to his waist. Both of them are southpaws. And so I say to myself, well, Jens Pulver's got a dynamite left hand. He's a southpaw. And we've got to take advantage of that. We got to get this fight over with quick. We don't want it to go to the ground because Jens is having trouble, even moving around at all, let alone on the ground. So what are we going to do? We're going to lean inside the jab and we're going to throw the left over the top and land it. And he barely missed the first one. It hit John Lewis's shoulder right here on the first one. And then Lewis threw the jab again, and the second one landed perfect and fractured John Lewis's jaw, I think, in half over here and up the middle on this side. And essentially ended John Lewis's career, really, is what he did. But that was, one of those things where it was, you got to roll the dice, go for broke, and win a world title. That's what he did. So,
Yes,
hats off to Jens Pulver for pulling that out. It was, that was a monumental moment for him. So anyway, all right. So
That is
let's move
my
on to the
favorite
card.
part of the
Something
show,
that,
folks, when Pat tells us a story. So I very much enjoyed that. I'm sure you do. Let's get into these fights. And I will say in advance, this is the card from hell as far as names go. Pat and I have already practiced, so we should be good on names. But let's get into it, buddy. UFC Belgrade, Serbia.
So, Belgrade, Serbia. So here's the thing that's interesting is there's so many people on this card with the last name Ich that ends in Ich, or right? Like
Yeah.
Militic, right? Croatian and Serbs have
Yeah.
names, Stepanovic, and all these names that end in Ich. Mike Wolf, who's a good friend of mine, childhood friend, Mike and Robbie Wolf, who are the hosts of American Pickers, right?
Yes, sir.
So we grew up together and we ran around with each other since we were like middle school or before. And Mike Wolf nicknamed me son of a bitch Latich. And so I would call this card, I would call this card UFC son of a bitch Latich. Is
That
what I
is
would
it.
say
You got that,
with,
Lee?
with all the guys' names that
Put
end
that
in
in the
itch.
title. All right. Well, we have another itch starting right off the card.
Yeah.
Marina Spacich and Luciano. That should be an interesting fight. Chick fight.
Yeah,
Chick fight to
so
start the day.
Spacich, Spacich is making UFC debut, and Luciano 2-1 in the UFC. Well, what say you, buddy? Looks like a fairly competitive fight.
It does look like
Where are
a
the
fairly
odds at?
competitive.
I want to hear everything from you.
Yeah, so here we go again. This seems to be a trend. A few things. This is our third Saturday morning card for obviously you Americans. This is our third card that's happening in the morning. Pretty much every fight card this past month, except for the big Connor card, happened in the morning. So that should be interesting. Get up bright and early. Stefiana Luciano, what do we have to say about her? Well, she moved from minus 310 to minus 350 on FanDuel, minus 280 to minus 330 on Caesars. Luciano should just have more weapons to bring to this fight. I think she'll likely be in control wherever the fight goes. Marina Spasic is not a bad female fighter. I don't think she's unworthy to be in the UFC. So look for her to maybe make this fight a little closer than it should be. You know how I feel about female fights. They're always a little bit too close than they should be, but I'm going to let's do one unit, Luciano, start off with a win.
Okay. I I was looking at this and while the quality of opponents haven't been great, honestly, for either one, Luciano's faced a little tougher quality of opponents. Spacek is got 6 KOs, TKOs, out of her 7 wins. She's got a really high percentage of finishes. What does that give you any pause at all?
Yeah, it does, and I know you always very lovingly remind me if I'm being a little disrespectful to the fighters. So keep that in mind. I think it's a lot of for these women. If you train a woman to if you train a female fighter, if she has any talent at all and she's trained at all, she can beat up most other women. So if they're knocking out the bartender at Applebee's, that doesn't impress me that much. But when we see them up against real fighters, which I think Invicta is pretty good about that, they don't let just anyone fight in Invicta. Unfortunately, in some of these promotions, they will literally let anyone fight. I remember that Elena McFarlane, the former Bellator champion, there's an infamous video of her fighting literally a soccer mom in yoga pants who looked like they just pulled her out of the crowd, and she destroyed her. It's very irresponsible. These people should be in prison for doing stuff like this. You could really hurt someone. But so a lot of these women, if they can fight at all, they should absolutely crush their first 4 or 5 opponents until they get a test. That's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, okay. I can appreciate that, buddy. All right, moving on to Lika and Popek. Alex Popek against Lovan Lika, who's 1-0 in the Contender Series. Popek making UFC debut as well. I believe
Yeah,
so.
Lika's
At 21-5.
yes, sir.
Popek's got a lot of Popek. Sorry, both have a pretty decent amount of experience to get into the UFC, which is nice to see,
It
right?
is. It is. Yeah, that's a little refreshing. Yeah, the line likes Leka here, and I get it. He opened up at minus 220 on Caesars. He's minus 270 now. And yeah, I think that Leka's the A side here. He's supposed to be the favorite. I think that he rolls. That's going to be a unit bet for me also. But the issue is, I mean, we can watch all the tape we can. Pat has his whole pad of research, but for a lot of these guys, there's not even footage of a lot of their fights, and it is a little bit harder until we see how they do in the UFC. It is the ultimate proving ground. I think Leka passes the test here. Give me a unit on him as well.
Okay. Uh, I mean, I lean towards Leka as well. It's the quality of opponents aren't great for either one of them. Even at 13-2 and 21-5, there's not a bunch of hammers in there, in their past. So, I mean, yeah, kind of a toss up. So I lean towards Lika a little bit as well. All right, moving on to Milosevic against Cowan, Haley Cowan. Now remember, the the dictator from Yugoslavia back in the day, the war criminal, whose last name was Milosevic,
Yes.
right? So Haley Cowan is fighting a potential relative
Yes.
of the war criminal Slobodan Milosevic here. So I hate to say it, I got to root for the American in this one, bud. I
Holy blast for the
Haley
past.
looking.
I remember watching Milosevic like on the news as a kid, and yeah, he was not a nice guy from what I heard. So.
Well, Haley Cowan's looking for her first win in the UFC. She's had much tougher. Well, all right, I'm not going to go that far. She's had a little tougher quality of opponents. Haley hasn't faced, the murderer's row that people do, with 3 fights in the UFC. She's had a tough time converting, and Milosevic is 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Very low quality of opponents as well. But yeah, are you leaning towards Milosevic or Cohen on this one?
Yeah, the UFC, Dana White, Hunter Campbell desperately want to make the Haley Cowan thing work, and it's just not working. She's an absolutely gorgeous girl from Baylor. I think she did gymnastics there or something. All American girl. They
She's
could
a great
certainly,
athlete. That's the thing. She's a
and that's
great
the thing.
athlete.
She shows flashes, and so it's they are dying to turn her into a star, but she's got to win some freaking fights here first. So that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, she's very tough. I will give her that. She comes in there to fight. She doesn't look for a way out. And but these girls just seem to be quicker and stronger than her. Milosevic is right up that alley. I think Milosevic's line should be more like -1,000. You know me, buddy. I'm very hesitant to back big women's favorites because it seems like they always go to split decision and you never know what's going to happen. I actually like Milosevic to roll here. I like her probably by finish and certainly to win. I think that -400 price tag is a steal, and it's about half the price of what it should be. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Give me some discounts. Milosevic, give me 2 units. My biggest bet so far.
Wow, okay. All right, moving on to Kyle. Is it Propelic?
Propeller, like yeah, propellic, yeah, like a propeller.
Propelic, okay, against Rebecca. Rebecca 4-4 in the UFC, 0-4 for Propelic. You- I, back in the day, dude, if you were 0-4 in the UFC, you were lucky to still be around.
To be
So,
fair, this is his second stint. He went and fought somewhere else, but yeah, he lost two, got cut, then won a few, and now he's back. But yeah, not a good look.
so how do you read this fight? Are you looking at Rebecca to win this, or are you looking at a guy who's got 10 KOs out of his 18 wins, only been knocked out one time? For an 18-10 record, he's actually a lot tougher than his record says or indicates.
Yeah, and I think well said. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, buddy. Propelic is here to lose, but don't disrespect him too much because the UFC seems to like him when they really want to get one of their stars a win, but they want to make it a good fight. They did the same thing with Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit Saint-Denis was searching for answers, man. Poirier absolutely ping pongs him off the canvas. And then Honoito Moicano in Paris embarrasses him. And so they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to call up old Propelich. And he'll give Benoit Saint-Denis a fight. And give him a win, but not too easily. That's exactly what happened. That's what they're doing with your boy Rebecca here. I know you're one of the bigger Rebecca fans out there. You really believe in Rebecca. He's a Militech Fighting Systems guy. He can wrestle extremely well. He can strike extremely well, and he's a tough SOB. So I get why you like him so much. Give me Rebecca all day here. Let's go ahead and put about 4 units on him. If he gets up to minus
Ooh,
1,000, we'll put.
4 units.
If he gets up to
Four.
minus 1,000, which he's already minus 910 on Bet Rivers, we're doing this on a Thursday. I have a wager for you. Rebecca's going to be minus 1,000 by Saturday morning. There's a bet for you. So if he does, he moves into that you can't lose territory where literally 99% of the time over the past 10 years, UFC male favorites minus 1,000 or higher have won 99% of the time. So I already love him. I'm probably going to bet him tonight because that price is going to keep on going up, up, up unless something crazy happens. Mateos Rebecca, you know what? Let's just put 5 units on him now because he's going to get to minus 1,000. So that is my lock of the week, possibly my lock of the month. Mateos Rebecca, I'm going to look bad if he loses. To be fair, I did a lock of the year on Max Holloway and he won in about 2 seconds. I know the fight lasted 45 seconds, but that fight was over in 2 seconds. So this is not a lock of the year. I am 1-0 on those, but this is going to be certainly lock of the week. Mateos Rebecca, cash it, take it to the bank, enjoy the fight.
All right, all right, buddy. Dude, I'm gonna be biting my nails watching that fight now. All right, so I'm with you on Rebecca for sure. Grad versus Bazoochka. Bazoochka 1-4 in the UFC. Grad 1-2. Bogdan Grad. I mean, both have decent records, Josh.
Yep.
Both are decent guys. They're decent fighters. They've never been finished on the ground. Both have been KO'd, but they've got several more, many more KOs overall than
Yeah.
how they have been finished. And they've faced somewhat tough competition, both that I rank from a 1 to a 10 at about the 7 range. So
Yeah.
they faced some tough competition along the way as well. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this will be interesting. And I will just warn you and Lee, my battery seems to be having some issues. We're making great time, but we may have to wrap this show up in about 10 minutes instead of 20. So I'm just warning you. But we're having a
All right,
great
we'll
show.
rock. Let's
We're
rock.
gonna rock. Okay, Dognagrad, where is it? We're on grad Bazookia, right? Or Yeah.
Bazooka, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with Bogdan Grad. He's certainly cost me money in the past. His Contender Series fight, I had a good amount of money on, and he pretty clearly lost that fight. Two of the refs decided he won, one of those goofy split decisions. And ever since then, he's just kind of he fought Lucas Alexander as a massive dog and knocked him out in the second round. So I just feel like maybe Bogdan Grad has been getting a little bit lucky, or maybe he's just that good. But so. I will hesitantly pick Grad here, but I just feel like Bogdan Grad has been the best version of himself lately, and he's due for a loss. So, oh man, you know what? Let's just give me a lean the other side. I'm going to go with Bazooka. It's just a lean. I can't, in confidence, pick Grad, and his line movement hasn't done anything. So that's where I'm at on that.
He's cost you money. There is resentment, deep
A
resentment
little bit,
there.
a little bit. It was an awful split
All right,
decision. It was an awful. Next time that we hang out, I will show you this fight. It was a terrible split decision. But anyway, awful.
All right, let's move on to Borislav Nikolic. Nikolic versus Vologdan. Vologdan 0-1 in the Contender Series. Nikolic making his UFC debut. Nikolic 16-2 overall, 12-4 for Vologdan. What say you, sir?
I got nothing on this fight, Pat. The line's not doing anything. I will say that the line has moved 10 points on pretty much every sports books in Nikolic's direction. So that's my pick.
Yeah.
Both these guys are decent, but not great. They are very similar in talent. I would probably have it as more of a pick 'em. It's interesting to me that Nikolic is a decent favorite. I mean, minus 200-ish. What's your take?
Nikolic has faced, in my humble opinion, much tougher opponents, and he's 5-0 in his last five. I'm rolling with Nikolic in this one. All right, moving on to Oliveira versus Elliott. Oban Elliott against Michael Oliveira. Oliveira 6-0 in the LFA Contender Series 1-2, and Oban Elliott 3-2 in the UFC. Tell me what's going to happen.
This is what I love about this sport, man, because I feel like we can get right to it on a lot of things. So we have Michael Oliveira, who is his first fight in the UFC. Hot, hot, hot prospect. This is a caliente prospect. They love him. He can thump. And it's a big sign of respect that he's almost a minus 400 favorite against a kid who 4 years ago, he was the fun, hot prospect. Oban Elliott from Wales, future champion, the next Conor McGregor. It's been up and down. He's won
Yeah.
some, he's lost some. Certainly doesn't look like the world changer he was sold to be. So it is an interesting Oban Elliott's got to be looking at this kid and being like, this is where I was 4 years ago. I was the hot new prospect 0-0 in the UFC. Now I'm fighting for a job maybe. So it's just the first time UFC jitters make me nervous. I think Oliveira is a stud, man. We're looking at maybe a possible guy that can contend for a title, but he's -3. He opened up -330, -350 now. Oban Elliott's very good, and we still don't know how good Oban Elliott is. We just know he's been a slight disappointment, but not a major disappointment. Give me the hotshot Oliveira, but I'm an Oban Elliott guy, man. I really do think that we haven't seen the last of him, so I'm gonna pick
All right.
Oliveira, but be careful underestimating Oban Elliott.
Yeah, and I'm leaning as well with Oliveira. But all right, Tofik Mosaev against Ludovic Klein.
Yeah,
Ludovic.
yeah,
Ludovic. Come
Ludwig.
on,
Yeah,
help me
you
out.
nailed the first name, but yeah, Ludwig Klein. Tavik Masayev is one of my favorite, if not my favorite fighter
Ludwig
names
Klein.
ever. He sounds like a movie character. I think he loses here. Ludwig Klein has gone from -200 to -250 on almost every book. I think he's just more technical than Masayev. Masayev can be a little bit wild. And I think that Klein, as long as he fights his fight, it takes the center and commands the fight, he will be able to lead the dance and win the fight. So give me half a unit on Ludwig Klein.
And both guys have fought some pretty tough guys. Musayev is 18-1 in the KO TKO area. That's twice as many wins as Klein has in that area. Although Klein has shown better on the ground, it's a pretty interesting matchup. You know, I'll lean with you on Klein, but there's that danger of Musayev standing up. He can score some KOs, and he's done it against fairly tough guys. So
Agreed.
watch out.
Agreed.
All right, Janicic versus Gugnon, right?
Yeah, this is a fight that I like a lot, and while I do love the free money in parentheses, there's no such thing as free money. Well, I do love the seemingly free money on Mateusz Rebecki. Here's a better line for you guys than minus 700 or whatever. How about minus 120? Underdog flipped a favorite. Pow, 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 pow. Yeah, he opens up at plus 120 on Caesars. He's now minus 120. He's done a complete flip. And I like this Noah Guggione kid. A lot of it's line movement, but I did watch one of his fights and he's got it. And I think that he's probably the slightly better fighter than Milos Janicic here. I think the line movement's doing its thing, it's doing its job, it's painting a story, and it's telling us through sharp money Gugnon should be the better man here. I like Noah Guggione. Small favorite at minus 120. It's extremely important. He opened up in an underdog and is now a favorite.
All right, I'll roll with you because Janicic has fought so-so opponents, literally. So
Like it.
Gagnon has fought better, much better opponents in my
Like
humble
it.
opinion. All right, Seppo against Urbina. Urbina 1-3 in the UFC. Seppo making his UFC debut at 14-3. Again, accumulated some wins. He's got some experience before he gets in there. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. I think he's faced better opponents than Urbina. What say you, bud?
Urbina's a frustrating kid, at least from a betting perspective. Comes from a fighting family, has a few fighting brothers, maybe even had a fighting dad, and so no surprise he finds himself in the UFC. Seems like every UFC fight he's just kind of there to lose. He certainly, I feel like he's just kind of in the gray area of is he UFC level or not. So I think unfortunately Gilbert Urbina is going to be an underdog to anyone in the division, and so yeah, Seppo's good. He's right there. He's one of many prospects on this card. This is the card of Eastern European prospects for sure. Yeah, Capo probably has him there. Urbina's solid, but that's just the frustrating thing with Urbina is he's just so average. It's like you're not going to run him over, but you're probably going to beat him. So I would take just about anyone in the division against Gilbert Urbina. Give me this fun kid, Vlasto Capo, to get the job done.
All right, buddy, I'm with you on that. All right, moving on to Todorovic versus Valentin. Valentin at 1-3, Todorovic 4-6 in the UFC, 13-6 overall. A little tougher quality of opponents for Todorovic. I mean, I'm leaning a little bit that way. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna slightly disagree with you. I think the line movement's interesting for Valentine. Life of a fighter, man.
You son of a, you
I had to
son
make
of
it a
a.
little. Had to make it a little bit spicy. Yeah, good for Valentin, man. His first two UFC fights did not go well. He even got a little embarrassed and then comes back and turns out this guy can fight. Todorovic has been around forever. Has certainly he thrived a little bit in the old days of the UFC when he was facing lesser talent. Now he seems to be struggling. He's also getting older. He was never amazing, but solid, well-rounded guy. I don't love Valentine, but I am going to lean him here. I think he just has more tools. A great submission game that we haven't seen that much. Maybe we continue to see that amazing submission game show itself in the UFC. So give me a lean on Valentine. It is far from a confident pick.
All right. Yeah. I mean, 7-1 on the ground for Valentin, 4-0 on the ground to Dorovic. Both guys have been KO'd, a few times to say the least. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where the fight takes place. Both are vulnerable standing up,
Yeah.
and both are pretty decent on the ground. So we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do. All right, Tybura against Rakic. Alexander Rakic at 6-5 in the UFC. Tybura 14-10. Both have faced pretty tough opponents. Talk to me, bro.
Yeah, you say potato, I say potato. You say Rakic, I say Rakic. It doesn't matter. Everyone knows who we're talking about. This is interesting to me, buddy. We talk a lot, and I know that you're fascinated by moving up in weight. Rakic didn't look bad. He lost to Blachowicz in a fight that he won 90% of, and then he lost to that Russian kid that Costa, that Borakinia Costa just beat. Apparently, it was time to go to heavyweight. I mean, it wasn't like he was flailing at light heavyweight. He was a fight away from a title shot, but apparently now's the time. Rakic never struck me as a big guy, kind of like an Alex Pereira, where he was being held hostage in his weight class and killing himself to
Right.
make the weight. But here we go, and we get the guy who seems to be the measuring stick for the division, Marcin Tybura. If you can beat Marcin Tybura, you might be something. If you can't, you're probably not something. He is the ultimate gatekeeper for the heavyweight division. I'm not sure why Rakic is a minus 350 favorite. That seems disrespectful to Tybura. Yeah, Tybura's getting old. He hasn't looked great. Line movement is moving. Minus 300 on Caesars. He's now minus 370 now. I guess give me Rakic, but I feel like we're disrespecting Tybura a little bit here. Rakic is very measured. He will be in, he will be out, he will sting Tybura a few times and then get out. For a guy who's so measured, he sure does get knocked out a lot. You look at not Blachowicz, but Yuri Prochaska brutally knocked him out. This Russian guy knocks him out in his last fight. Now he's at heavyweight. The guys will be slower up there, so I guess that's a good thing for a guy who seems to be getting caught a lot and maybe not as fast as he's used to. You know what? We had Robert Whitaker moving up in weight a couple weeks ago and looked amazing. So maybe we see it from Rakic here. The line movement seems to think so. I will lean Rakic.
All right, I'm leaning with you on that. Both guys, though, batting barely above 500 in the UFC, so big win for either one at this point. All right, Blachowicz versus Sterling. Sterling has been hot, and Sterling is a very good athlete, very good fighter. This is, they're giving a name guy to Sterling. They want to build him, obviously.
That's 100% what's happening here, Pat. And I'm glad my battery's hanging on. Sorry, Lee. It's been an amazing show regardless of that. But I love this fight. And I will say that I love fight goes to decision. The fight this is just a 3-round fight, boys. And fight goes to decision is minus 164. That's gold. Navajo Sterling, yes, he is a prospect. He's not lamping everyone. He goes to decision a lot. And Blachowicz is very hard to finish. Alex Pereira couldn't finish Jan Blachowicz. Israel Adesanya couldn't finish Jan Blachowicz. The Black Jag, Carlos Ulberg, your new champion, couldn't finish Jan Blachowicz. And they all go to close fights. I think 2 of those were split decisions, and he obviously beat Adesanya. So, yeah, I just feel like Jan Blachowicz is millimeters away from being champion again and just can't quite seem to get over the hump. So don't expect it to be a blowout. I'm going to lean Sterling, but as far as a bet, I really like fight goes at minus 160. Give me 2 units on that, Pat.
All right, beautiful. I'll roll with you on, Sterling. I think he might be able to pull out the finish. I mean, he's super athletic, super fast, and he does have 6 KOs. He might be able to actually finish that fight, so we'll see. All right, Rodriguez versus Medic. Uros Medic against Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel Rodriguez at 10-4 in the UFC. Medic at 7-3. Both guys pretty dang good standing up, pretty solid, on the ground for Rodriguez. I think he's got the edge on the ground. Where are you leaning on this one? Both guys have faced pretty tough opponents. Medic maybe faced a little bit tougher in my opinion, but Rodriguez or Medic, bro, and how?
Yeah, well, we got to go Medic here. We got to go with the hometown kid. Some fascinating narratives. And you got to be careful listening to narratives, and line movement will keep you honest on that. But yeah, Daniel Rodriguez has had a crazy life. Massive upset of Kevin Holland, where he was like a plus 400 favorite. And so big upset of Kevin Holland. Good for him. Immediately goes to Mexico to celebrate the win and gets himself locked into Mexican prison for the next year. This is something out of a movie, bro. This is crazy. So he says that he lived like a king in Mexican prison, and they all loved him. And but he's happy he's out, and no one even knows what's happened. I guess if you're gonna go commit a crazy crime, do it in Mexico, and it'll stay out of the headlines. Because Daniel Rodriguez is back, and who knows what he did? Nobody cares. There he is. So he's gonna fight the hometown kid Medic. I mean, I'm guessing that Daniel Rodriguez was surviving in prison. He wasn't doing his regular training regimen, and I think that's why the line is soared out for Medic. Medic is good, man. He's lamping everyone in the first round. Don't look for this fight to go long. I would look for no wrestling, possibly. I would look for no wrestling period. They're going to stand in vain, and a guy's going to melt in the first round. That's basically what's going to happen here. Medic started out at minus 275. He's minus 400 now. It's not quite the confidence of Rebecca, but yeah, I love Medic here. Just give me 2 units on him, and let's end the card with a bang.
All right, so the Mexican prison either made Rodriguez really, really, really solid, really hard, or really soft. right? Depending. If he said he had it easy in there, what kind of easy did he have?
I don't know. Maybe
Eh,
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, Medich as well. I think I think Medich pulls out a fourth round KO. That's my pick for this, and anybody else out there that wants to pick how it finishes, who wins, and what round, we want to send you some Diamond clothing and some Cell Saviors products. So, yeah, I'm rolling with Medich by finish. Josh, is there anything you'd like to say before we send you back to the retirement home to
Yeah.
work on your
Yeah.
rehab?
Well, gonna hit a sports bar real quick and get dinner on my way home. But yeah, I mean, thank you to the laptop gods that my battery survived. Thank you to my legendary UFC Warrior co-host Pat and our amazing producer Lee. Yeah, for my prediction, first round, Euros Medic. I think this fight likely ends in the first round, regardless of what happens. I don't mind that for a bet. You can make a little bit of money there. Just fight doesn't last longer than a round. Usually, I'm the opposite. Usually, I'm like the co-main, which I'm pretty confident goes to decision. I don't often bet fight doesn't go. This is one of the rare times I'm going to do it because Eros Medic certainly doesn't go 5 rounds. He barely even goes 1 round. So, yeah, this is weird. It's weird plucking Daniel Rodriguez.
And Joshua's battery, let's see here, may have gone down. Lee, did we lose him? Okay, so we've lost Joshua. I think his battery might have gone dead. So for Joshua Chauvin, the Chauvin one, and Lee, of course, our producer, this is Pat Militich saying so long and good luck with your picks, and we'll see you next week.